This is the Old George pub in Sykehouse. We're here for the first round of the New Fish Southfield Spring League.
Jeff asking. I can't see any big dippers in front of him really, so it's looking good. Folks, get Steve Walker out ready goes before he draws. Go again before he draws. 65, it's still in here.
You can take it with you if you want and put it in on bands.
There's only one in the woods.
It's got to be woods, hasn't it? It's got to be. No. 56. 56.
Jamie Harrison, put your name on board, Jamie.
Lads.
56. Jamie Harrison. Yeah.
Peg 56. It's just past the gate. I'm not sure what the gate is. Probably about peg 52, 54, something like that. Just, you know, I'll fancy that for 1 or 2 bites there. There are only 3 or 4 pegs left in the bag anyway. One of them's in the woods, which is where all the weights have been coming on, which is pegs 1 to 10. I'm on 56, so it might be a little bit awkward getting parked up down there because I'm one of the last ones down there, so it can be a little bit busy down that lane. So I'm going to go and get parked up, and I'll see you down at the peg. Context for you. We did have to de-ice the windscreen this morning. When I got in the van it was just 3 degrees, so you know, the temperatures have dropped overnight. There were a few lads that have had some frost where they've come from. Bright blue skies, as you can probably see, but on arriving at the venue now, just coming down the lane to the venue, as you can see there is a ripple on the canal, so there is some wind blowing, which is very welcome. It's going to be a 2-line approach. I'm pretty sure I know what kind of ranges I'm going to be fishing. But like I said, just 2-rod approach and just rotate lines, be nice and patient. There were some blanks up here on the last match, so we know it's fishing hard, and it could very well be the kind of match where you've really got to go right until the last minute. Some of the lads didn't catch until the last half hour, and then they've had a couple of pulls in the last 30 minutes or so it could be one of those matches, so might need to be really patient. We're fishing 10:30 till 4, and I think I might be on the last platform on this bank, the last before the natural bank starts, I think. So yeah, if I've got to walk up there I'll probably load the bar up, because you can't quite drive all the way up, but yeah, nice simple patient approach, I think. Yeah, some of them will leave up there. Than it was, 56. Well, I've got 4 rods actually set up. I've got 2 12-footers, 3.6 metres. I've also got one that's the XS Slim, but the larger one, which is 3.5, I think it is. I was going to use that on a shorter line at about 35 metres, but while I'm tattling up, that wind's getting stronger. I have got a 13-foot rod set up, an XD, so I think I'm going to have to put that up. I've just had a quick look on my phone at the forecast and it says it is going to increase. So I've got to put that big rod up just in case, just to make sure I can still reach that longer line. Loading the van up in my t-shirt this morning. Look at it now. Still 40 minutes to the off. I'll quickly talk you through my kit before I sort my bait out. Like I said, this wind's made a difference now, so I've now got a 13-foot XD set up as well, which I was hoping I wouldn't need, but I am going to need. I'm sure I'm going to need it by the time the match starts. And they've also forecast this wind getting worse later on in the day as well, so I think it can only help the fishing, but it's a really cold wind. It's really cold, and the kit I've got set up, I've got 13-foot XD. I know a lot of people are going to ask, so that's the 13-foot. I've got a 12-foot set up as well, and then I've got a 3.5 metre XS slim set up as well. I'm going to be fishing two lines. I'm going to fish 35 metres and 50 metres. Obviously, with that being 50 metres, I can obviously go quite, past that a long way as well if I need to. But they're the two lines that I'm going to stick on, just really because 50 metres I know I'm going to be able to hit all day, even if it means I'm going to switch to the big rod. But it means if this wind does continue like it is doing, I'm still going to be able to hit that 50 metre mark. That is it. I'm going to fish for a bite to start with, simple as that. I'm going to feed the shorter line first and leave that at least an hour, and then it'll just be a case of rotating through lines. Those two lines are just having a look out what's happening. There's quite a few pegs down to my right, but yeah, you can probably tell how I'm wrapped up now. It's gone cool now, so it's about 10 minutes before the off now. The wind is still coming, as you can see. Quickly talk you through the setup, because I know people ask. Like I say, I've got two lines clipped up. I've got 3 rods to cover those 2 lines, just in the nice simple roost, keeps everything off the rocks. River keep net 4 metre. On days like this is when this is important, because of these nice big holes. There are loads of river nets out there, but this one's brilliant, really robust. You really need it on venues like this, It's amazing how many keep nets I've seen damaged. I'm going to have the rod down. I'm not going to have it on my across my knee today. I'm going to be putting the rod down and waiting for bites, just making sure they're on before I pick up, if I'm going to get any. The bait tray, nice and simple setup. This is going to be the same sort of setup for this every match in this series. Just got some extra rocks and water in that one. I like water on my bait tray anyway, just so I can add it to my ground bait, or if I need to wash my hands for anything, I've got water there. But I'll put a couple of rocks in there just in case this wind gets to gale force strength. Then it's not going to risk blowing anything off my side tray. Obviously my ground bait there, I've got some dead reds. I'm going to put them in, cover them with water in a minute, just to stop them going black, keep them nice and soft. I've got some fluoro live big maggots as well for the hook. I can also feed them as well, obviously. They're just some spare dead reds that I've got in case I run out of those. Worms obviously speak for themselves, just dendras. These are pole cups here for cutting the worms up, obviously. And that's it, really simple. Got some hook lengths there that I haven't put on yet, and obviously I've got some spares if I need them. And then at the back here, just a selection of different feeders. I'm going to be using the Horizon feeders, either the old version or the new version. I'll just find out which is best. Like I said, I'm going to feed that 35 metre line first and then start at 50 metres.
Fire.
Well, that was a great start. Just had one about £2. First cast, it had been in 16 minutes. I've just gone to cast back out to that 50 metre line, and there's quite a bit of debris in the edge, and some of it got caught in my braid, and it just broke my tip on the cast. So I'm going to have to set this rod back up again because I can't reach it with the 12 foot. So I'm just going to have to set this rod back up, clip it back up again. Well, what I'm going to do is, while I'm sorting the terminal kit out, I'm going to cast a short line out, just so that at least I'm fishing while I'm sat on my box setting up the other rig. Not good. Just a nice simple helicopter rig, helping to keep it tangle free and nice and strong for punching it into that wind. When you're sat 15 minutes waiting for a bite, you don't want to be sat there wondering if your rig's tangled up or not. Took me a few minutes to set all that up again and put another tip in, but at least I know it's done right now. Set back up again now. I haven't seen any more fish caught. I haven't seen anyone else catch anything yet, so I've just had a bit of downtime setting that back up again, but I haven't seen anyone else catch yet. Well, that must be the smallest fish in here. Usually you only see fish like that in here, you know, around July, August, summertime when they catch them on the pole, but very, very welcome. Still haven't seen anyone else catch anything yet. The wind's getting worse. But I've just got to keep on doing what I'm doing. It seems to be, at least it's getting a response anyway. Well, we're just over an hour in. I haven't seen any other fish caught yet. certainly not in my section anyway. I can't see all the way down, but I haven't seen any more fish caught. These waves are getting bigger now. I'm just going to have to raise the tip up a little bit so my tip's not going through those waves. When I changed the tip, I changed from 2.5 ounce tip. That was the one that broke. I actually stepped it up when I got the opportunity to change it. I changed it to a 4 ounce tip, and that seems to be absolutely perfect. It might sound severe, and I thought it might have been a bit too much, but it's absolutely perfect. This place is only shallow, and obviously with this wind on, you know, the tow can be, well, it can be massive sometimes. I've seen it move feeders across the bottom. The tow has been so strong on some occasions. But at the moment, that is absolutely perfect. Well, we're just coming up to the 2-hour mark, and I've just had a third fish. Not a big fish, but very, very welcome. That had been in just under 15 minutes as well. So we're having to wait for bites, as you can imagine, just like you do when it's hard and cold on here. I haven't seen another fish caught anywhere. I haven't been watching all the time, but I have been keeping my eyes open, and I just haven't seen another fish caught. So I was just about to drop onto my 35 metre line, but then obviously I just got that fish then, so I think I'd be daft to do that right now. I've got to stay out there on this line, on this 50 metre line. It seems to be the only thing that's working, you know. Like I say, I haven't even heard anyone say that they've even had a bite, so I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. 15-minute casts, and if I go 3 or 4 casts without a sign, then I might have a drop on that shorter line, but still a long way to go yet. Halfway through now. I've got 4 fish now. 3 of them are quite small by SOUTHFIELD standards, but I've got 4 fish, and I've got to be thankful for that, to be honest, the way it's finishing. I've only seen one other fish caught, and that was just now. The lad on my right, he's just had one about 6 ounce. Looked about 6 ounce, not a big fish, and that's it. I've not seen any other fish caught. Dad's gone back in the van now. He's retired to the van where it's nice and warm. That wind's just really cold now. You can probably tell by the way I'm wrapped up. It's freezing. So that's it. I haven't seen any other fish caught, so I'm still on that 50 metre line, and I think I'm going to stay out there at least for the next couple of casts. If I don't get anything in the next couple of casts, or any indications or anything, then I'm going to have a look on that 35 metre line just to see if there's anything there. But at the moment, it's still very, very quiet. Well, my biggest concern has really been about the size of the fish that I've caught. I've caught 4 fish, which is way more than anyone else, but the stamp is small. I mean, the first fish was about £2. I reckon all 4 fish might only go about £3, maybe just over altogether. My only concern's been, with that being such a low kind of weight, that could easily be cancelled out by 1 fish. That's just happened. The lad on my left, he's just had one, and it's over £3. It might even be £4. I think that might cancel out all 4 of my fish. So annoying when that happens, but I don't know why my fish have been smaller. I don't know, maybe that'll change. Maybe it's just because there aren't any bigger fish there. I've no idea, but there's still 2 hours to go yet. But I think that one fish will cancel my 4 out. I've just had a quick look at 35 metres, not a sign. Never had an indication, so I've just gone back out long to 50 metres. This is my first cast back out there. It's been in 7 minutes. I think that's going to be the line to be on. But I really could do with a couple of fish now. Well, there are 90 minutes left. Up until 5 minutes ago I got myself down a second in section because the lad on my left, that fish he's got, that single fish, is heavier than all of my first 4. But I've just hooked a fish on 9 minutes at 50 metres, and I bet it's £3, must be £3, maybe just a tiny bit under maybe. So that should put me in front in this section. I've seen a couple of fish caught about 10 pegs down to my left, just one caught to my right, a few pegs. Other than that, it's still pretty slow, but on recent form, from what I've seen in reports and stuff, is the last hour has been the best, so that is yet to come. I'm still at 50 metres, not had a sign at 35. I'm sticking out there on that line now. It just seemed to be the right line to be on. Well, it's 25 minutes to go and I've just had a 6th fish. It's about £2 to been in 11 minutes. Lad on my right got one just before I did. So about 25 minutes left. I've got 6 fish for about £8. Lad on my left has still got 1 fish, and the lad on his left, which is the first peg in this section, he's got 1 fish as well, but it's a good fish, £3. 25 minutes to go. I've ended up with 8 fish for about £13, I reckon, might be £14. Lad on my left got one last chuck as well, so he's probably got £6 with 2 fish. I'm hoping it's enough for a section win. That's the only thing I care about, to be fair. I think the Woods will have fished well over in pegs 1 to 10. You know, they've been producing, so I couldn't expect to frame with what I've got anyway. It's not enough anyway, but it's just a section win. That's the only thing I'm bothered about, winning that section. So fingers crossed. We get some kit packed away and wait for the scales. Well, this is round 3 of the New Fish Southfield Spring League. The story so far, I had a section win on round 1. Round 2, I was away in Spain. You can actually have someone stand in for you on one of the 6 matches. For me, last week it was Richard Vaughan. He did a fantastic job for me, securing 2nd in section. So this is round 3. It's already very, very evident that you need some weight. All the weights are coming from pegs 1 to 10. It's a 60 peg match. So I'm hoping I'm going to be over in the other lake, in the woods. So fingers crossed, I'm going to get a great peg to give me a chance of climbing back up that leaderboard. League leader, draw bag. 7 again. Did you catch it last time?
Yeah, got me second in section.
46!
Yeah, that.
Is that 6 again?
It's 6 again.
6 again.
Sam, we don't even go red, does it?
Oh, what's happening here?
What number is it?
71, mate.
71.
I was on that last week.
Where?
Yeah, they caught you then at section there.
Well, that's not the draw I wanted. It can be a very, very hard section up there. I've drawn peg 71, fishing for a bite, to be honest. Obviously a section win is a section win, so that's what I need first. But it has been fishing very hard up there, very hard, literally one fish has been the target. So we get packed up. It's going to get up there, it's going to be a barra job, so I'm going to load the barra up and get to my peg. And yeah, loads of time to set up. It's 22:09 now, and we're fishing 10:30 till 4, I believe. So I'll see you down on the bank. Well, it's 25 minutes to the off. I'm up here at the top end. As you can see, there's no wind. What little breeze there is, it's off us back here, so that's obviously not going to affect us casting and stuff, but I always prefer it on here with when there's a bit of a wind on. Steve Whitfield's up here, he's on the M peg. He's fishing in place of Wayne Bartholomew today, so he's on the M peg. So, but that's a different 5 peg zone from me. My 5 peg zone, I've just been told, the last peg in it is peg 73, and I'm peg 71 in that zone. It's going to be the same approach as round 1. For anybody that didn't see round 1, the video from that, I'll put a link directly underneath this video for you. It's going to be a 2-line approach. It's going to be 35 metres and 50 metres. They're the 2 lines that I'm going to work, but I've got a bigger rod set up, a 13-foot XD 4 metre, clipped up at 60 metres in case we've got to go long, because it is, as you can see, there's not much wind, and if anybody around me casts long, then obviously I've got that rod ready to go. And if the conditions do deteriorate like they can do on here, then that bigger rod will allow me still to hit that 50 metre mark if it does get really severe like it can do. That's it, the same mix and everything. I'll show you the side tray, but it's, like I say, it's very much the same sort of setup as round 1. This is peg 71, this is all on natural bank here, there aren't any platforms here. So we're down in the water. But once you're down, it's really nice and comfy. Feels very, very tight, the peg in here. I mean, that peg looks really close. I've not measured it, but it feels tight. Setup is the same. If I can get down here without falling down. I'm going to fish 2 lines, 35 metres. That is with, I'll show you these because I know some of you will ask. 3.5 metre, that's the excess at 35 metres, and that is the XC, and that's going to be at 50 metres. Simple as that. Obviously I can change if need be. I've got a 4 metre XD as well. That's set up. That's the same setup that I used in round 1, but that wasn't for going a long way, it was just because the conditions were so severe. Everything else is the same. The side tray is all set up and ready. I'll show you in here because I know you like to have a look. Just a bit of water, obviously for adding to my ground bait or washing your hands, just always nice to have a little bit of water there. Obviously my ground bait, I've got some dead reds and some dead fluoros in there. Some dead reds, way too many there, but I've put them in water because I will save some of them for the next session. Keeping them in water keeps them nice and fresh, so I can put them back in the freezer tonight when I get home. And then some worms, I've got some worms already chopped there, and there is just some spare ground bait and some extra worms there if they're really wanting a lot of worms. Simple as that, and some spare feeders there just ready to go. And I've got a flask with me. Got to be very, very patient. Just got to fish for a bite to start with, but I've just been told that they caught some fish here last week. There were some fish caught up this area. You never quite know where they're going to settle and what peg they're going to be on, but hopefully they're going to be in front of me. Very simple. We're going to fish 10:30 till 4, and like I say, if it's very, very hard, I'll just be easing back on the bait, slowing the timing of the casts down as well, and you've just got to land every fish. I'm going to start on the 50-metre line, but I am going to feed the 35-metre line from the start. Bloodworm all over feeder.
Really?
Reeled in then, yeah. We cast in one.
Yeah, that could be an answer, couldn't it?
Shows you how much natural feed there is in here.
Yeah. I never heard people talk about it.
Not a big fish, but nice to get one first cast. Just reeled in. There we go. First cast, there's bloodworm in the feeder. Loads of natural feed out there. Second cast, even more bloodworm. 45 minutes in. It's very, very quiet. I've got 2 fish. I had one first cast after 3 minutes, and then the third cast I got one on 9 minutes. Both fish together give me about 3.5 pound, I think. It's winning this section at the moment. 2 to my left's got one fish about 8 ounce. The lad to his left is actually fishing the pole. He's just caught a fish on the pole, only a small fish about 6 ounce. But that isn't in my section. So in this section there's just one other fish caught. Nobody else has had a bite yet. I've not seen any other fish caught. As you can see, the wind is still off his backs. Both bites I've got really were just out of the blue. I'm still at 50 metres. There we go, he's just got one next to me. Not a big fish, but every fish is very welcome when it's fishing as hard as this. I'm still out there at 50 metres. I haven't been on my shorter line yet. I'm going to carry on out there for at least another half hour or so. Let's just see what happens around me. Well, it's just gone past the halfway stage and it's just switched off. It's never got going at all. I've still got 3 fish for £5. That's winning this section. 2 to my left, he's got 2 fish for £2. And I think the other 3 lads have all got 1 fish apiece. Very, very small fish, you know, 3-4 ounce fish. I just haven't had a bite since that last fish, which is, you know, well over an hour ago. Really quiet. It looks like it's quiet all the way down this long bank. I've had a quick look on my 35 metre line. I've not had a bite on that. Never had a sign. And the fish that I have seen caught have been very, very small on a short line. So I'm back out at 50 metres now. I'm trying a selection of different feeders, just trying to pick a fish off. You know, different ways of presenting it. Different size feeders, just to try and trigger a bite. It's not worked yet. So it's just gone halfway. We've heard the catching bream over in the woods, pegs 1 to 10, but obviously that's a completely different section from here, so I'll have to leave them to it. So I've just got to not push it too hard, I think. Just be nice and patient. It could be another last hour match again, I think. Out of blue, mate, you know. So all that time, an hour and a half with nothing, and then all of a sudden rod pulls in. Well, it's just under an hour to go. I've just had a good fish. I bet it's nearly £3, just out of the blue. I hadn't had a sign for an hour and 3/4, and all of a sudden rod went round as though a carp had took it. But very, very welcome. So I've got 4 fish now for about £8. There haven't been any more fish caught in this section. And I haven't seen any other fish caught anywhere. It's very, very slow. There's about 45 minutes left now, I think. So every cast counts now. It's been nice to get another couple of fish. I'm still on that 50 metre line. I keep resting it and going on that 35 metre line, but I haven't had a bite or anything on that line. But it's purely been used to rest the 50-metre line. So hopefully there's a chance of a couple more fish. Hopefully it's not going to spoil the fishy. Well, there's only about 12 minutes left, and as expected there's been one or two light fish. I haven't had one, and there's a few minutes left, so hopefully I'm going to get one. 2 downs, just had one good fish. It looks as though it was 3, might have even been 4 pound, so he's not far off, not far behind me. And the lad on my right, as I'm talking to you, has just hooked one as well, just from nowhere. It's amazing how important these last 15-20 minutes can be. Hopefully I'm going to get one as well. Just as I'm talking, the tip's gone round. 8 minutes to go. Well, he's just had one, 2 down to the left. Well, I got the late fish that I wanted, half expected it. Don't know if I won the section, I really hope I have. There's been a couple of late fish caught, but it's been alright, it's gone to plan. Not had loads of bites, but I ended up with 5 fish. I think I've got about £10. I'll just show you these feeders. It's been a 2 feeder peg today, or a 2 feeder type of a day. I'll just tell you why. Basically, the bottom out here on that 50-metre line is very, very soft. There's loads of dead weed and stuff, and I brought loads of bloodworm back actually in the feeder, but it's really soft. And when you're fishing with a feeder like that, obviously the very nature of it, it's metal, it's wire, it sinks into the bottom because it's so soft, and when you pick up you can actually feel that dragging through that, you know, the debris and the soft bottom out there. It really is a strange sensation actually. It's almost as though you've got a fish on, and then you get about 10 turns on it and it suddenly comes free again, and that's because it's obviously pulled through all that dirt and stuff. So for feeding my actual peg, that is the feeder that I've been using. I've kept topping that line up as well with 2 or 3 quick feederfuls. That is the feeder I've used purely because it's wire. It obviously casts really well out there, but because it's wire, thin wire, the water can get to the ground bait really nice and easy, and it's really nice and easy to empty. So as soon as you cast it in, you can just strike and it empties really, really easy. But for actual fishing, I've used one of those. As you can probably tell, because of the plastic and the nature of that design, that has been laying on the silt much, much better. And if you wanted to move the feeder, it's really easy to move this sort of a feeder, and it's not been digging down into the bottom. But obviously, because that is not as open as the wire cage, it doesn't empty as quick. So I've only literally just been lightly pressing the ground bait in the top, just enough to get out there, because it's only 4 feet deep. So obviously, you know, you want a bit of ground bait to come off the feeder and spread on that soft bottom. So that's the feeder that I've been fishing with. But that style has been much better for feeding. I'm going to get some kit packed away now, wait for the scales coming down, and hopefully, I just hope I've got that section win again. round 7. I thought I had a little bit more weight than that, but it doesn't matter, it's won the section, that's the main thing, so that's good. So I had a section win on round 1, and obviously today round 3 as well. Round 2, in this competition, like I said, you can have an angler that fishes 1 round for you, only 1 round, and Richard did fantastic and he got me a 2 points, so that should put me right in it. I haven't obviously got a big weight, it will go down to weight, and I really do need, you know, if I'm going to, obviously winning the section is more important than anything else, but obviously if it is going to be as tight as what we think it's going to be, then it'd be nice to get a, you know, drawing a pile of fish on one session. But you can't, there's nothing you can do about the draw bag. You put your hand in and what you come out with is what you're stuck with, so you just got to fish your peg that you draw. So that's good. Another envelope, section money. It'll be interesting to see the league table when I get home tonight, just to see how tight it is at the top. Well, this is round 4 of the New Fish Southfield Spring League. Yeah, it's just getting interesting. The story so far is Wayne Bartholomew was leading going into this round. He's 1 point in front of me and 1 or 2 other anglers as well. He's obviously leading on weight as well. It is a weight competition, but obviously tie on points, it will then go to weight. The mission for today for me is to try and get another section win, and the ultimate mission would be to do it in a big weight section so that I can get my weight advantage up as well. So far I've only been in the harder fishing sections, so whilst I've won the sections, it's always been a low weight. The weights are coming from pegs 1 to 10 or in the woods, as a lot of you know it as. There are 2 sections over there, pegs 1 to 10. So Dad's already gone into the pub. I'm just going to go and grab a breakfast and then get in the draw queue. Hopefully, like I said, the mission for today is to get a section win, and then the next thing is to do it with a good weight to get me up that table. So I'm looking forward to breakfast, and I'll see you very shortly in the draw queue. We'll just, yeah,
Give it to me before the draw. Stephen Richardson, 43. Dave Blakey, 31. 31, Dave Blakey, put it on Dave.
Oh, 1 off board.
1 off, oh, you're just off.
46.
46.
Still on board, mate.
He's on that one, nice one. Cheers, lads. You what? Second, nice one.
Man on bank. And he's in woods, top man.
Peg 46. I haven't been in that area for a long time. I haven't fished that many matches here anyway recently, but it's not an area I'm overly familiar with. I've been told it's the second, or about the second ramp as you drive up the lane. But yeah, it looks like just got to fish for a bite, simple as that. Peg 44 is the first in my section. I'm obviously 46, so they're the 5 lads that I need. They're the 5 lads that I need to focus on. Possibly not a big weight area, but it doesn't matter. I've just got to go and win the section, and if it's a good weight, then that's a bonus. First look at the canal. No wind. You can see on the windscreen, just starting to rain. Bit of context for you, it was cold last night. I was told there was a bit of a frost. It was 1 degree driving all the way down here. It's now saying 3 degrees. As you can see, the rain's here now, but no wind, so I'm expecting it to be flat calm. But I'll be setting up rods to cover various different options, so I'll see you down at the peg.
Let's turn the lights off.
Time to set up this morning, which is nice. Bit of spare downtime I've had. I've just been sorting some ground weight out in the back of the van, bagged it all up ready for the remaining 2 matches. It was flat calm when we got here, absolutely flat calm. The breeze is off his back, but as you can see, there's a bit of a breeze on it now. It's more over our left shoulder now. It was over our right shoulder, but it wasn't even breaking the surface. But you know, I think any ripple on here is going to help it. It is a cold wind. Like I say, on the van, it's on the temperature gauge on the van, it's saying it's now 2 degrees. But I'm a favour of having a ripple on it as opposed to not having a ripple on it. Certainly if it's off your back anyway. I'm peg 46 as you know, which means peg 44 is the first in the section, 45. There's me with my same setup, 3 rods that I've had all the way through the series. 47, and then 2 to my right is the last peg in this section. I've been told we can catch a few fish here. It has been a steadier, more reliable area for a few fish, but obviously we never know what to expect. You know, it was really cold last night, and even when they have caught here, it has been a slow start as well. You know, there might be the odd person who's had 1 or 2 early on, but then it's been like the middle period's been quite rubbish, and then they caught later on. So I'm just going to fish for a bite. It's a section when I need. To be nice to get a good weight if I can get a good weight, but that's out of my hands. I'm just going to try and win the section. I'll quickly show you the setup. Same setup all the way through the series, so I'm not going on about it too much because you'll be sick of hearing it. I've got the 3.5 metre excess slim. I've got that clipped up at 35 metres, so that's my short line. Just for your interest, a bit of context for you, I haven't caught a fish on that line yet, all the way through this series, but I believe it serves its purpose as a resting line for the longer 50 metre line, which I think is more important. Certainly it has been so far. So like I said, whilst I haven't caught on the 35 metre line, just the time I spent on it has rested the long line, and I think it's helped that long line. So, but who knows, I might catch on it today, which will be an added bonus. 50 metre line, XC class, 3.6 metre. A lot of people have asked me which version it is. It's the 60 gram version, that one. The feeder I'm going to be using today, if this wind stays how it is, I think 40 gram is going to be plenty. Don't think I'll get away with a 30, but that depends on the wind. So 40 gram feeder, that's a 60 gram rod, so that's just loaded nicely. And then I've got an XD setup. That's the biggest setup, the XD with the feeder 5500 reel, and that's clipped up at 60 metres. I hope I don't have to pick that up. The reason why I've got that set up is A, if I see anybody catch longer than my 50 metre line, like 10 metres past or more, I've got that. I can try that if I need to try it. It's already clipped up and ready to go. And the other reason is if the conditions change, you know, and the wind suddenly gets severe and stuff, that rod will enable me to still fish that 50 metre line. It is clipped up at 60 because I can't imagine that happening, but obviously if that's the case, I just need to bring it back 10 metres, and then obviously I can still fish that 50 metre line if the conditions deteriorate like they can do on this venue. Everything else is the same. I'm going to kick off with a size 16 hook, probably maggot on the hook, dead maggot, and just try and get a bite. 15-minute casts. I have caught fish a lot quicker than that at stages, but I have caught fish 14 and 15 minutes, so I'm going to kick off that. That's my starting point. The bait tray is basically the same as it has been all the way through the series. Got a nice cover on it, which helps keep that rain off. It's stopped raining now, thankfully. In here, just the same setup. I'm going to go over it because I know not everyone's seen every video in this series. Obviously my ground bait there, I've got a tub of water, good for washing your hands. You can add extra water to your ground bait and all that sort of stuff. I've got some dead fluoro pinkies, I've got some dead reds in there, they were just frozen overnight. I've got some worms, got to have worms when we're fishing for bream. I'm going to chop some of them up at the start, just chop them up in batches because sometimes they don't want them, sometimes they do, so I don't want to chop up loads at the start in case they don't want them, then I'm just wasting worms. That is just spare ground bait, so I can top that up nice and easy if I use all that. There's 2 pints there, believe it or not. That is a 2-pint mix, and you can see there's plenty there for fishing with. I'm going to be fishing with these sorts of feeders, the little Horizons. As you can imagine, they don't hold a massive amount of ground bait, but you've got to have extra ground bait with you in case it is a red letter day, and you've got to put a bigger feeder on, feed more and cast more. You know, you've got the ground bait there ready to go. You don't want to be wasting time having to get off your box and mix more mix, but 2 pints is not too much if you're going to waste a bit. Just think about the bait that you're using. Basically, ground bait is expensive enough without wasting it. And in there I've just got some more dead reds in case I use all those, and some worms. That is it, really nice and simple. Same routine. Feed the 50 metre line first, then the 35 metre line, and start fishing at 50 metres, and just keep my eye out what's happening. I'll be watching up and down the bank both ways, Someone's got a pole up there. I think that might be Steve Whitfield. And I can see down that way as well. I'm obviously going to be watching everybody, but it's the main lads in this section that I'm going to be watching. That is 2 anglers to my left and 2 anglers to my right. 10 minutes to go. I'm going to chop some worm up, and hopefully I'll have something to report after the first hour. Steve Whitfield's got one first chuck on 2 minutes. He's not in my section, but it's nice to see an early fish. Snags in here or what? Twice that locked up then. Hey? Oh, well, I've just found it. Twice that locked up then. That's a rounded up. Oh. That's a good start. I've had 2 fish in the first 20 minutes. To be honest, I actually pricked one first cast after 8 minutes, and I thought that was going to be the kiss of death like it usually is on this venue, but then I hooked my first fish and he snagged me up twice coming back. I didn't know there were any snags here, but someone's just told me this is known for having a snag in it. So that second fish I hooked, which was slightly bigger, I just played it with the rod up in the air just to make sure. Stood up as well. I might have to do that on every fish now. So I've got 2 in the net. Nobody else in this section's caught yet, but the lad 2 to my left has definitely missed a bite, and he might have just missed another bite, but there's no other fish caught yet. lad next to me, he just had 2 in 2 chucks, and then I've had probably 4 casts without anything. Just had a bite out of the blue, hooked my biggest fish, and that snag's causing me some real problems. There's something about 2 metres back from where I'm fishing, but that one just completely locked up, and that's probably halfway back. It's, well, probably 30 metres out. I could have just pulled for a break, but I wanted to take my time, try and get it out. Walked up and down the bank, had the rod right up in the air, just trying to free it up, hoping it was going to swim out. I'm glad I took my time with it now, because I managed to get it out, and that's my biggest fish. You know, it's easier. Well, it's a 3-pounder. Very important fish. The hook length was all cut up as well, obviously where it had been in or around that snag, whatever it is. So as you probably saw, I just ripped the hook length off and I could put a fresh hook length back on again now. So the lad on my left has got 2 fish. Other than that, there aren't any more fish caught in this section. It's pretty cold, I've got to admit. There's loads of tow on it. Tip's bent round now. That's a 2-ounce tip. But I've just got to try and, you know, land everything I hook now and just try and be patient. 50 minutes. That one, caught that one on 13 minutes. Obviously it took me 10 minutes to get it out, but it was worth it. Still at 50 metres. And I haven't been on my short line yet. I'm just going to stick on this line for now and just see how it, you know, how it progresses. Well, it's bang on halfway. We're 2.5 hours in. Very little has changed. The lad on my left has had 1 more fish, but it's only a small fish. It looked as though it were about 5 or 6 ounce, probably a roach. So he's got 3 fish. The lad on 2 to my left has got 1 small fish that looked about 8 ounce or about 8, 10 ounce, I think. 2 lads on my right are not caught yet. So I'm still in front in the section, but I haven't had a single indication since that bream what snagged me up. So the wind's got up a bit now. It's not really affecting the water as such, because it's skimming. It's coming over our backs, but it's absolutely freezing. Dad was sat with me for 10 minutes, but it's just not very pleasant at all. So he's gone back to the van now. He's got the right idea. It's just I can't see any fish being caught at the moment. Right the way down to my left hand right. It's very, very slow at the moment. I could do with another fish just to try to kind of keep in front. I might have a quick look on that 35 metre line, just 1 cast, just to see if there's anything there. And obviously if not, then that will have rested my 50 metre line for, you know, 15 minutes, which might nick me a fish. But it'd be nice to get another fish now just to try and keep in front. Other than that, as in the last match, the middle 2 hours were rubbish. Then it was just a case of waiting for that last hour when you're hopefully going to get a couple more fish. But I'd like to get a bit more of a lead before we go into that last hour, just in case. Well, it's not getting any warmer. It's actually got windier, and that wind chill's really, really cold. I think it's nearly 2 hours now. I've not had a sign, not had another bite, nothing. Same on my left, both pegs. The lad on my right, I don't think he's caught yet. But the lad 2 to my right, the last in this section, he's had a good fish. He's had a 3-pounder, and then he's had a small fish, and that's it. So I think there's less than 2 hours to go now. I've just gone on my short line. I've set the long line up, fed it, and I've just had a chuck short. I'm going to have a 15-minute cast on this. It's been in 10 minutes already. I'm going to give it 15 minutes and then go back on my long line if I'm not caught on it, and hopefully nick a fish when I do after that rest. Other than that, it's going to go right to the wire, as expected. Certainly last 45 minutes will be very, very important again. Not very exciting for you watching, I know, but when there are no bites, there's no action. Hopefully the last 45 minutes is going to come alive again, and I'll catch a few more fish. frustrating. I've ended up with 4 fish, losing my voice. I was at the Stoneleigh Tatler show yesterday. I was talking all day, that's why I lost my voice. I've ended up with 4 fish, that's it. Really frustrating. I can't believe that I've gone the last 3 hours with just 1 fish. It was something that happened last week, middle 2 hours. I never had a bite, and it's happened again today. I don't know, it's something I need to look at. I don't really know why it's happening. But anyway, I've ended up with 4 fish. I've got about £9 maximum. I don't think I've got more than £9. The 2 lads on my left, I don't think that they beat me. The lad on my right, I've not actually seen him catch. I don't know if he has caught. But the lad 2 to my right, he's got 4 fish as well. Now one of his fish is quite small, but the bream that he has got is very big. So I've got a feeling it's going to be very, very close between me and him, I think. But having said that, I've only looked at him a few times and I've seen him catch 4 fish. I find it hard to believe that all of the time when I haven't looked at him that he's not caught a fish. So I've got a feeling that he must have got at least another fish on top of that. He must have. So I think he might have won the section, but I don't really know. So I'm going to get a bit of kit packed away and then just wait for the scales.
Let's turn the lights up.
Won the section. I can't believe it, but there we go. It just shows you when you're on here fishing with small baits, when the tip goes round, it can be anything. The lad 2 to my right, he's done brilliant to catch 4 fish. But his 4 fish have been smaller than mine. All 4 of mine, well, I've had 1 £3. The other 3 were decent fish. But 3 of his fish have been smaller, so that's how it goes. But section win, that's the main thing. £8.9, I've ended up weighing. So yeah, I'm back down at the van now, so I'm just going to get all this clobber off. I'm going to head back to the headquarters, go and have a look at the results and find out how the rest of the lads have got on. But so that's put me on 3 firsts and a second. We can drop 1 anyway, our worst result, with 2 matches to go. Job done. Peg 71 again. It can be a fair section, but that's what it is. Got to go and fish it now. I'm the middle angler in the section, so obviously I'll be able to see left and right. I'm going to park at the top end. You've seen me fish this peg before anyway. So the other interesting thing is on my left, next peg is Matt Benwell, who's in contention as well, who's been doing well. So that'll be interesting. So I'll see you down on the bank. The birds are whistling, it's a beautiful day and we've got some wind on it. I think 78 is the last peg, just here. As you can see, the wind's blowing into this bank. Bit of colour in it, only a tiny bit, but yeah, gonna go and get set up. Right, it's 10 minutes before the start. That breeze is really coming now. A quick hello to Mr. Benwell at the next peg. Well done so far, mate.
Hello, mate. And you?
Looking forward to the battle. We've got Trevor at the next peg as well, so he's the first in the section. Second peg, on the middle, and then there's 2 more to my right. What do you reckon, Mr. B?
I think it's going to be a tough section, mate. Like I said, with Trevor Parkin and yourself. Well, you're up there, like
It's up to us. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong. But you don't want one of them days where, I mean, you had a bad last round, didn't you?
Bad last round, peg 18, maybe sandwiched in netting a little bit, but that's spring fishing for you, isn't it?
That's over on the canal bank. The canal's actually behind him there, but I think, mind you, it's £8. Did £8 win it?
£9 won it. I think 16 Trev Parkin.
Trev Parkin won that. So even then it fished hard as well over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, bit of a novelty. You join on this bank for a change, mate, isn't it? First time he's been on a long bank, isn't it?
Yeah. I forgot what he looks like, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's looking nice. We've got a bit of ripple on, haven't we? So.
It is, that ripple's coming now, obviously blowing down to this right hand corner. There's one more section past ours. The last peg is 8, is it 80? 78? Is it 78?
I think so, yeah.
I think 78 is the last peg. John Craig, he's the one that won this league last year. I walked past him this morning and he says he's rubbish. So if he won the league last year and he's rubbish, what's that say about everyone else that fished it last year?
No comment.
But that's it, 5 minutes to the off. Same plan as every other match, and just see what's happening around us. So good luck, mate.
And you, bud.
Alright, don't catch too many. I'm paddling today. Same sort of setup, the only difference is my shorter line today is shorter, like I said in the van. I brought it back to 25 metres. It's going to be a bit of a hit and miss line, I think, but as you can see there's a bit of breeze on it, the sun's on it. It might take a while to produce, but I think I might catch on that line today. So I'm fishing that with shorter rod, 3.3 metre, the XS Slim, with a new 3000 reel. First time you've seen me use that. That's balanced beautiful on that rod, with it being an 11 foot rod, well 10 foot 10. That 3000 reel is perfect on that, lovely balance. I've got braid on it, usual submerge, so that's 25 metres. The line I expect to catch the most on is 50 metres, and then I've got a big rod, the XD, set up 4 metre with a feeder 5500 reel. That is clipped up at 65 metres. That's the one that I will go on middle part of the match if I'm not catching, just to try and catch a fish. I don't really intend on feeding out there, but it's just somewhere to go. 15 metres past my main line at 50. It might nick me a fish, but hopefully I won't even need to pick that rod up. Usual setup that you've seen in every round. Bait tray is the same. There's no point in me going through all that because you've seen it all. Yeah, simple. So I'm going to kick off at 50 metres. Hey, 15. Matt's just tested it. Water temperature is 15 degrees. As you know, it's shallow here as well, so it will warm up quicker than some other venues. But yeah, Trevor's in contention. He's 2 to my left. Matt's obviously in contention. He's on the first on my left, and then Trevor's the next one. And I can see what's happening in this section. So same game plan. And if I've got to change it at some stage, I will. hours in. That's been a really slow hour, that one, as expected. I've just had one chunky little hybrid from that long line. It was a beautiful drop back bite. When I picked up on it, like hitting a brick wall, but I landed it. It's only a small fish, but obviously every fish is welcome. Trev, 2 to my left, he's got 1 fish now, about a pound. Matt on my left has still got 2 small fish. I've now got 4. On my right's got 1 fish, and I think the next one down's got 2 fish. The boats are on now, you can't really see them properly at the minute, but they've been going over our long line now for the last 20 minutes, right over our line there, which I've been told really disturbs the fish, but I haven't had any more signs out there since they've been on. But so I've just had a quick look on my short line. I'm currently on that now. That's been in 6 minutes. I'm gonna have a 10-minute chuck on this. If I don't get anything or any signs, I'm then gonna go along. Just obviously I've been rested that line, but I'm gonna pick my time to go on that. I'm gonna pick it when those boats, the boats are currently on over there now, so I'm gonna try and time it so that they've had a bit of a rest in between those boats. Might just nick a fish when I go back on it, but it's very, very slow. I've already seen it. Don't think there's been a fish caught down in the other section to the left. Not heard of much caught anywhere. It's really, really slow. That fish has probably just overtaken me now. 3rd hour, I haven't had any more fish at all. I haven't had another bite in that last hour again. Matt on my left has had a good bream, probably, he says it's £2, but I think it's a bit bigger, on his short line, and he's just had that fish on his long line. So he's now got 4 fish now. I think he's got more weight than me. Trev has still only got 1 fish, small fish. On my right, still got 1 fish, and the next one down we think he's got 2 fish, but I'm currently on the short line. I've not had a sign on it yet, but I'm going to give it another 2 minutes, and then I'm going to go back long again. I've just rested that long line for 20 minutes. I've fed it, so I'm going to cast back out there. But again, this middle part of the match has just been a waste of time again, which is not very good at all. Not considering I'm actually trying to catch fish and trying to change things, but so I think Matt might have just got in front now, but hopefully when I'll either catch one on this or when I go long again, I'm going to pick one up. So, but it's fishing hard everywhere. There's just 1 and 2 fish caught all the way down the match length. It's really fishing difficult. How far behind you I am. And Trev keeps sneaking them in, I've seen him. Yeah. Well, that's it. Best I can hope for is second in section. I've not really done an update those last 2 hours. I just haven't caught them the last 2 hours. A little bit unlucky in the sense that I set my short line up, and then when I went on it, I pricked a fish on it. I got a bite after about 3 minutes, and I picked up and just, you just nick it. The hook hadn't gone in right, so I never had another bite on that. But while I was on that line, I'd set my long line up, and I've chucked long, ready for that last half hour, expecting it to be good or better. and I've gone on it and I've had a great big liner that, well, I'm saying it was a liner, it looked like a bite. I waited for it to develop just like a proper bite, and I picked up, there was nothing there, the bait wasn't touched, so maybe it was a liner, I don't know. And then I've just not had another sign. But that last hour, Matt's had 4 fish, I think he's had 3 in the last half hour. He took short, he's had 2 on that. Matt's done something a bit different from me today, in the sense that he's fished 3 lines instead of 2, and that's what we normally do on here during the summer. So maybe it is a sign that it's getting warmer now, the sun's been out, and you know, that's what happens on this league. Things change, you know. Early on in the league they might not want worm, but as the water gets warmer through the 6 weeks, they might want more worm, and I've definitely fed more worm today and caught on worm as well. I'm hoping I beat Trev. I don't know what weight he's got, but I'm hoping I'm second. But yeah, there's been differences in the way that myself and Matt's fished, but he's fished brilliant. He's rotated his lines and he's caught on every line from what I can see. He's got a lovely net of fish. So that's it. 2's the best I can hope for, but that's it. I'm just going to get the kit packed away and wait for the scales. £7.2, a lot less than what I thought. I've got a feeling it's not going to be enough for second. I think Trevor's bigger fish are going to do me. Matt's definitely beat me. I might be looking at third now.
22.
Well done, Matt. Well done, Matt. Yeah, you might frame it match with that.
Yeah.
£22, brilliant weight. Well done, mate.
Good, thank you.
Superb. Well, I managed to do it. I didn't expect that. Those fish look bigger, but Matt's just had such a standout weight. It's been unbelievable. He's had some bigger fish as well, but loads to think about going into the last match next week. If the temperatures and stuff stay like this, I am going to make a couple of changes, which I'll tell you about probably in the tackle room before next week's match. 2 points, that'll do. Well, good morning, it's round 6. Had a long day yesterday. I was the angling direct just outside, well, it's Chesterfield, Dronfield for Matrix, so thank you to everybody who came to say hello and all the good wishes. Thanks for that, it was great to see you. Just about to go in and have some breakfast now. It is the 6th and final round. Bit of context for you, it's the last couple of days it's been gone cold. It's gone back down to 6 degrees. It was 6 degrees driving here. We had a little bit of rain yesterday. Doesn't look like there's much wind at the moment, bit of a breeze, and it's just gone overcast as well. It was lovely sunny on his drive here, so it's overcast. It looks alright for a few fish, I think, even though the temperature's dropped a little bit. Little bit of background information for you. There have been 2 matches this week on this reservoir. There was bank holiday Monday, we had a bank holiday on Monday, so there was an open match then, and there was also an open match on Wednesday. So there's been 2 matches this week, and the key highlight I need to mention for you is both matches were won on the pole. Said it before, this series quite often sees, whilst I haven't fished it for 5 years, I've seen the results, it can change, and there has been a change the last 10 days in the sense that the fish have come in close. Now whether they're going to be close or not today, I don't know, obviously. But I've also spoke to somebody yesterday who pleasure fished here on Friday, and his mate had loads of bream on the pole on Friday as well. So it's evident that there are some fish that have come in close now. So I'm going to fish today, it's the final round. I'm going to fish it as though it's more like summer. It's going to be a 3-line approach, similar to what Matt did in the last match, but that's how I fish here in summer. I know exactly what lines I'm going to be fishing already because I need a starting point. I think I'm in touch with the venue, and I can obviously talk you through the tactics down on the bank. But I'm going to put in 3 lines in today, so I'm going to be putting a short line in at 15 metres, targeting bream. I'm going to feed that at the start, rest it, and hopefully go on it and catch some fish at some stage during the match. Who knows what's going to happen. There are 4 anglers that could potentially win the section today and win the league on 6 points, and I'm obviously one of the 4. You've got Wayne Bartholomew, Paul Holmes and Matt Benwell. So if any one of those lads wins the section today, they can finish on 6 points, or will finish on 6 points, and that will win the league, depending on what their weight average is as well. I'm one of the 4, obviously, so if I win my section I can end up with 6 points, which is the lowest score you can get to win this league now. But I've got a slight advantage in the sense that because my dropper is only 2 points, then the worst possible score I can finish the league on is 7 points. So it puts me in a good position, but obviously wherever I draw, I'm going to want to win my section. And then if it comes down to weight, that's completely out of my hands, you know. I haven't drawn in the woods, I haven't drawn in a big weight section at all series yet. Obviously that could happen today. So I just want to win my section wherever it is. If it comes down to weight, that's out of my hands. But obviously a trip over to the woods, if I was to go and get a good weight today, that will obviously help my weight average as well. So we're going to have a quick breakfast now. Dad's here. Like I said, it's a little bit cooler today, but he'll be wrapped up nice and warm. And that's it. I'm going to go and hopefully draw a peg that's going to give me a chance. Like I said, I just want to win this section first. That's the #1 priority. I'll worry about the weight after that. So I'm going to go and get a breakfast, and I'll see you in the draw queue. Matty Benwell.
53, that's not bad in them 50s, that one. No, 53.
Who's that?
Matt Benwell. Who is it? Bart's on 48.
Yeah.
Is it?
All the time.
What we got then?
Jamie.
Five.
Oh, it had to happen, didn't it?
Go on, Jamie.
Had to happen, didn't it?
Come on, get your names down.
You need that weight today, Jamie.
45.
Yes, that's true, mate.
45, Gav Maguire. Gav, your ball's
45.
still there.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, mate.
Well, from a viewing point of view, I suppose it's pretty good for you because you're going to see something different. I'm going to be loading the barrow up. I'm going over to the woods. It's where they've been getting weights. Obviously, section win is priority. If I can get some weight as well, which is what I could do with as well, obviously to get my weight average up, then you know, it'd be nice to get a good weight as well. Anyway, I'm in the first section, which is pegs 1 to 5. So I'm going to get down there, get the barrow loaded up. I'm going to be sat out in the water. So yeah, at least you're going to get to see a different bit of scenery.
First prize of all you sheep. Let's turn the lights up.
Not been over here for quite a long time, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, they've done a great job. They've reinforced and put all this path in, all the lads that fish here, the regulars. Done a fantastic job, makes it a little bit easier getting over here with your barrow.
Wrapped around my fingertip. You're making this too easy. Try to grab me.
Well, that wind is blowing into this bank. Done a brilliant job on this path, it's right the way up, right up to peg 2. I'm the last peg in this section, 1 to 5. Peg 5 is in the tree, there we go. And there we go. We're hoping I didn't have to put my waders on today, I don't think I have to. Sometimes you might have overhanging trees over here, but that's certainly not an issue here. So you don't have to wade out too far, as long as there's enough water in your keep net. Well, you can see it wind direction, there's no point telling you about that. I think we'll get a few pulls. Might be a slow start. But I've got plenty of bait with me to step it up if there are more fish there than what we thought. Just like when I drove over here 2 years ago, whatever it was. I'll just be ready to feed if there are some there, but sticking to the same approach, 3 lines. I'm going to get down in the water, get set up, and then I'll talk you through my kit and plan. Just 5 minutes before the off. Obviously it's a different setup and everything over here. I'm sat out in the water. The wind is left and in, as you can see. I'm obviously sat out in the water, as you can see. Same approach as what I spoke about in the van. I'm going to fish 3 lines, 15, 30 and 45. The longest line has been 50 metres, but I'm bringing it back a bit. That wind's coming in, and as you can see, there's a bit of colour in it as well. And I've got to admit, I'm not one to listen to rumours, well, not take rumours on board, but I've heard nothing but people talking about how many fish have been caught on the pole, even over on here. Even this week there's been fish caught at 10 metres and 15 bream sort of nets, so I've got to put that short line in. So I'm going to feed that a little bit heavier at the start. I'm going to put about a pint of ground bait in on that line with a little bit of chop worm. I'm going to feed some casters. I've got casters with me today. The bait tray is pretty much the same as it has been, except I've done one big chopper worm, so there's 3/4 kilo of worm there. I'm willing to take the chance that I'll need that today. I'm going to chop that down a little bit more than what it is now. Obviously just a little bit of water, keep your hands clean, adding to your ground bait. Same mix as in every series, which is 50-50 ringers dark and ringers natural. Obviously the stopwatch ready. Some dead reds, some dead fluoro pinkies. I've got some lovely red worms for the hook, because once they switch on to worm on here, which I keep hearing stories that they have, then the red worm can be unbeatable. And if not, I can just stick to maggot or whatever. It just gives me another option just to put on the hook to try. And that one's just some extra ground bait, so I don't have to get off my box and refill that if need be. Everything else is the same, 4 metre river net. I'm not using the roost today just because the trees are so close here. I'd have to have them higher. Ideally, if I had chest waders or something, I'd be a little bit further out in the water, but I'll be alright here. So I've got the rods on the bank, same setup. I've got two 3.3 metre excess slims. One's for 15 metres with mono, and one's with braid for fishing 30 metres. And the other rod is that's a 4 metre horizon I've set up in case that wind really changes and increases, or if fish are further out than what I'm anticipating. It just means that rod's there ready to go. 2.5 ounce tip, it's 4 metres with braid. That'll just allow me to go either further or still hit the sort of range I'm fishing now if the conditions deteriorate. But the main line to kick off with is 45 metres with the XC class, which is the same setup that I have been using all the time. Nice little horizon feeder. I can only see one angler, that's Roger on my right, who's not on his box yet, so I'll obviously get an idea if he's catching. Other than that, as you can see, I can't see anybody else, but Roger is not in my section. Roger is the first peg in the section going that way, so the whole of my section is that way. The guys that know the venue better than I do, pegs 2, 3, 4 are probably better than this one, certainly 3. I'm not sure which anglers are on those pegs today, but I've just literally got to sit and fish my own match, almost pleasure fishing. So I'll check in with you after the first hour.
Stepping into the crowd now. I know you know it's me. Wanna be
I'm going to cast a long way today. It is, isn't it? Well, we're 1 hour in, the boats are on now. That wind's still coming how it was. I've heard that peg 1 got 3 fish straight away down to my left. Sometimes the rumour is that if you catch early on that peg, it's quite easy to just carry on catching all day, but we'll see what happens. Next lad to him got 1 bream, and then I think there was 1 other bream caught. I've now got 2 fish, but the good fish, 2, 4, 7 pound I would say. They're the only 2 bites I've had. I'm still at 45 metres. I'm fishing with a bigger bait, just trying to be a bit more selective today. I've got a piece of worm on with maggot as well, like a cocktail on a 14. I'll just see what happens. Roger on my right, even though he's not in my section, he's got 2 fish, slightly, well, smaller than my fish, but he's got 2. Other than that, I don't really know what else is happening, so I'm just going to give it a bit longer out here at 45 metres, and if I don't catch any more fish, I'm going to have a quick look on that 30 metre line, just to see if, we're chucking past them. But it does, it does look okay for a few fish with this wind blowing in like this, so just got to try and be patient. The lad that drew here last week, it was 2 hours before he started catching, so I'll see you on the second hour. We're just coming up to 2.5 hours in. I've just had another fish, not as big as the others, probably, I don't know, 2.5 pound maybe. The report's just come back now that pegs 1 and 2 have both got 10 bream each. This is part of the reason why I didn't really want to draw over here throughout this series. I mentioned it a couple of matches ago, I think, because when you do get more bream here, they can be patchy, especially over in them pegs. Those pegs can be out on their own, but anyway, there's just over half the match to go anyway, so anything can happen. They can stop catching, I could have a run of fish. I've now got 5 fish, so I'm not a million miles behind, and plus it depends on what size they are as well. They could only be, those 1.5 pounders, 2 pounders maybe. You just never know. And we all know what bream are like, they can switch on and off at any time, so I've just decided to spend a bit more time on my longer line at 45 metres, but I'm going to cut back on my feed a little bit. I think I've been pushing it a little bit too hard. I know I need to catch them lads, but if those fish aren't here in numbers, then I can't keep pushing the peg because I'll just end up killing it and catching nothing. So I'm going to ease off now just to see if it gets me an extra couple of fish, just being steady, because obviously there's every chance that a few could rock up, certainly on that short line late on. So now it's just a case of just keeping it steady now. I'm going to cut back on the feed, and obviously, as always, try and make every bite count and just count a land of fish and try to claw something back on them lads and hope that they slow down catching. Coming up to the last hour and a half. I've just had a great hour. We got news that the lad on peg 1 was on 15 fish. I was on about 8 at the time, but I've just been rotating my 2 shorter lines. I got to 15 fish. I've now got 17 bream now. They're not all massive fish, but they're all a good stamp. So I've got 17 now. I've no idea if peg 1's still catching or not. I've no idea. The wind has dropped a little bit, as you can tell now. Bites have slowed down a little bit, but I'm definitely back in the race now, so I'm hoping this last hour and a half is going to be very hectic. Right, well that's it, series done. Certainly a more exciting finish than 1 or 2 of the other matches prior to this one. If you're still watching, thanks for watching the series. It's been great putting it together for you. I've ended up with 28 bream and 3 or 4 small hybrids as well. So 28, it's a good weight. I've got £70 plus. might frame in the match, but obviously the key is to win the section. We've heard nothing else for the last 2 hours from pegs 1 and 2. So whether they've continued to catch, last time we heard with 2 hours to go, peg 1 had got 15 fish. We've no idea if they carried on catching or not. But to be honest, the way that my peg's fished and the way that I've kind of fished it, I don't think I could have got much more out of this peg, to be fair. I'm really pleased with the weight. So that'll help my weight total overall. But obviously, it's the section win that's more important first. And we haven't heard anything about the other lads that are in contention for the league. So I'm going to get some kit packed away, get weighed in, get back to the headquarters, and hope I've done enough.
Picking up £80 with 9 points is Paul Holmes. I'll tell you what. Mark, it was joint with you, but he beat you on your dropper. I just thought I'd let you know, mate. Alright. I'm just going to let you know. 9th overall, picking up £100 with 8 points. Dropping a 5 plus weight is Stevie Walker.
Well done, Steve.
Oh, stay here, I need you. Oh, what time? Paul Holmes, I need you in a minute. 8th overall, picking up £130, also with 8 points. Dropping a 5 but with a better weight is Das Cook.
Well done.
Stay over here. 7th overall, picking up £180 with 8 points, but dropping a 3. Mally first cast.
Well done.
Well done, Mally. 6th overall, picking up £240 with 7 points, dropping a 5. Andy Gregg.
Well done, mate.
5th overall, picking up £300, 7 points, dropping a 4. Trev Parkin.
Well done, Fred.
Over there, mate.
Over there. Come on, Phil, over there.
4th overall, picking up £400, also with 7 points, dropping a 3. Tony Briscoe.
Well done, Tony.
Well done, Tony. Just wait over there, Tom.
Managed to come back.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's come back and all. Wait over here, Tom. Over here, Tom.
Just get me slide.
Nobody will lick it. 3rd overall, picking up £500, 7 points, dropping a 2 is Jamie Harrison. Jamie. Well done, mate. 2nd overall, picking up £700 with 6 points, dropping a 5 is Matt Benwell. I did him. Well done, mate. Wait over here, pal.
Well done.
And you win overall, Mr. Newfish himself, picking up £1,000, 6 points, dropping a 4. Big round of applause for Wayne Bartholomew.
Well done, Wayne.
I get you right.
Well done, Wayne.
Well, what a finish to the league. I've ended up 3rd overall. 2nd in section today. Peg 1's beat me, Keith Mumby. Well done, mate, if you're watching. He obviously got a big lead on me and, well, everyone else in the section. Halfway through the match, you've seen I've started catching. I've caught on all 3 lines today, and that short line got stronger and stronger. But unfortunately, by that stage, I was kind of probably 10 bream behind him, down on peg 1. So you're playing catch up then, and I've had a really good spell then, which has got me back in it, which is great. But it's a big ask when somebody goes so far in front with bream. It's difficult to get that, you know, get that back. So I just kind of had to get my head down, fish my own match, and try and work out a few things, you know, what would catch me more fish. And I did. I cut worm out, and that definitely helped on that short line. They didn't want worm, although I was catching with worm on the hook. I'll let you try and work that one out. But I was catching feeding caster mainly, which is how they've been fishing the pole over the last week or so, which is obviously why I changed my tactics going into today's match, and that's worked brilliantly. That short line that I haven't fed or fished in any other match has really got me 70% of my weight today, so that was a good call. So yeah, disappointing to end up 3rd overall, having led the last 2 weeks, but it was so tight. But the nature of this league is that you can actually drop, there are 6 matches, but you drop your worst score, and that's kind of what's done me a little bit. My worst score has been 2nd in section, whereas some of the lads have had, you know, quite a heavy score to drop, and that's obviously helped them out. So massive congratulations to Wayne for winning it. Well done, Wayne, if you're watching. But Wayne knows the venue very well. He's an incredibly good angler anyway, and he's drawn on that long bank today where it has fished difficult, but you know, if you know what you're doing on those pegs, like I've said before, it can be a very, very fair area, and Wayne's obviously done it right. And same to Matt Benwell's been joint 1st in his section today. I think he's dropped a 5 point, but he's ended up with, because he was joint 1st today, 1 point better than me overall. So yeah, so I've ended up with 3 1s and 3 2s, and to be fair, I haven't been fishing here, as you know, and I'm quite pleased with that performance. I'm not, obviously being 3rd out of 66 anglers and a few £100 better off is great, obviously, but it's obviously disappointing not to win it when you've led for the last 2 weeks. But having rocked up and not fished it, then I'm pleased with having a 2nd in section as my worst score, and it just gives you a lot of confidence in what you're doing and the mix and everything that you've been using. So I'm just here now with Dad. We're just going to have some fish and chips on the way home. So thanks for watching this film. I hope you've enjoyed the series. I know some of the areas have been a little bit rough to watch, but I hope for those of you that have never been to Southfield, it's giving you a little bit of a flavour for it. And there is a full playlist all about Southfield on this channel, so just go to playlists and there are loads of videos all from this very same venue. So if you want to see more videos like this and you enjoy this kind of thing, then just hit that subscribe button right there. And if you want to see some more in-depth kind of behind the scenes coaching style videos, then you might want to check those out, and they will be at the link just there for you. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next video.